Hey everybody, welcome back to another review of Married at First Sight. As always, it's your boy Big James, the Big Eye himself. This is going to be season 13, episode 15. Title of this episode is Memory Lane and a Dirty Little Secret. A Dirty Little Secret actually was a pretty good secret. The Memory Lane stuff was just stupid. It tells a lot about a person's character and where they come from, but I wouldn't be telling this stuff. Well, I guess they should be open about it. Anyway, this episode was pretty good. It was kind of informative, and I think they kept a lot of the nonsense down to a minimum, which is good. Yeah, that's about it. Let's get right into it. First couple, I'm going to start out with Michaela and Zach. Total shit show in the last episode. On this episode, I believe Michaela is legitimately crazy. I thought she was just quick to anger, upset, stuff like that last time. I believe she is out of her damn mind. They talking to Dr. Pepper comes along. She talks to every couple, I believe. She talks to Michaela and Zach, and Michaela is like, she has abandonment. I mean, it was so amazing how she completely played off that nothing happened. She didn't go out. It was all Zach's fault that Zach did this to her. He abandoned her. He left when she didn't want him to, which was bullshit. She pretty much screamed and demanded that he leave, and then when he left, she freaked out that he was actually doing what she said to do. But if you would have just seen her talk about it, you'd have been like, oh my God, why he do that to her? If you didn't see the last episode, it would have seemed like Zach did her wrong. Instead of, she went off. The way she flipped it to where she was the victim was unbelievable. And I don't blame her. When she's talking to Dr. Pepper, and they're both talking to Dr. Pepper, she says that there is no evidence that she did the things that she did. Which I was like, she is fucking crazy. This is on camera. Does she not see the camera people? There were witnesses. Yes, he has plenty of evidence that you did the thing he said you're doing. I don't know where that shit came from. She's fucking out of her mind. And then Zach, the first time they're talking, he is like, he just doesn't want to say anything. But he's just sitting there listening to her say this. He gets up and he leaves. Because he doesn't want to go off. Which I understand. But then when he leaves, Michaela says, see, this is what he does. He abandons me. He's not abandoning you. He is trying to choke the fuck out of you. Because I would have started cursing. If you did that to me, and then try to play it off like I did something to you. And Dr. Pepper is like, well, he's afraid of your reactions. They're explosive. She was like, they are? She was like, you don't. Dr. Pepper was like, you don't think you have explosive reactions? And Michaela's like, well, no. And I said, I can see. Michaela is, she's either bold-faced lying, or she has a serious mental disorder. And it makes you question all the stuff she said before that Zach was doing, because she just lied hard. Bold-faced. Just completely, just lied. And lied. Everybody knew the truth. I don't see how the producers didn't flip the fuck out. Like, you lying wench. It's crazy to me. I don't know how anybody held it together when Michaela was sitting there lying. I question everything she said before now. Everything she has ever said, I know probably isn't true. And that Zach isn't tripping. She is going off. And we're just not seeing it. We saw this one. Everybody saw this one. So I can't imagine what they're doing in private when no one's around. Later on, they meet up again with Dr. Pepper. Because Zach left the first one. They come back together. And this dumb motherfucker, Zach, is like, well, I want to, work it out. I'm like, what? Because Michaela is afraid he's going to say no on decision day. So she's flipping out. He said, well, what if I say yes on decision day? That way we can still date, we can still get to know each other, we can still do things. I'm like, the sex can't be that good, Zach. She can't be putting it down on you like that, to where you still want to put up with this. It can't be. Or he's just saying he's going to say yes on decision day, just get her ass to calm down, not flip back. Michaela like she slashed tires. Like she bust the windows out of cars. And he just wants her to just calm the fuck down, ease up, relax, until decision day, so he can say no. He can have her think he's going to say yes. And then he says no. She completely explodes like a fucking volcano. But he's like, I told you. Because right now, the experts haven't seen it. He's seen it. The other castmates have seen it. But even they don't know exactly what's causing it. They're probably thinking that he is doing something to warrant this, but he's not. I don't know what his play is. He can't be seriously trying. But he did say that the majority of their time together is good. But it's just these moments that are bad. So does he want to sacrifice the majority good for the minority bad? It depends on what the bad is. So even though they have a lot of good times, the bad that I'm seeing from her, I wouldn't put up with, because that could get you killed, man. Really. If y'all have an argument while driving and she like grabs the wheel and runs you off the fucking road, like, oh, just a moment, but it was a moment that cost you your life. That's what I'm looking at it as. Even though it's just these moments, they're wild and crazy and unstable moments that could cost you everything. I wouldn't take that risk if I was him. But I guess, I don't know if she's going to be putting it down for him to even entertain it. Oh, we're going to move on from them because that's a disaster. It's a disaster that's nice to watch, but it's a disaster. To Marilyn and Gil. Marilyn and Gil. I'm back to where I started. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it because of money. Because I think it bothers Gil more than he lets on. I think he feels inadequate. I think he feels like he's not a man. I don't think he's angry at her because she makes more money. I don't think he's jealous. I think it makes him feel something completely internal to him. But they showed in the episode, they were talking to Dr. Pepper. They had more. We're talking to Dr. Pepper. And he was like, her spending is a problem to him, but he can't really explain why it's a problem. It just is. He said, well, if you save, because she's like, I'm saving a lot. He agreed she's saving a lot, but if you spend less, you can save more. And merely like at the expense of my happiness, which is where I'm like, Gil, you're fucking wrong. You're telling her to be unhappy for no reason, basically, because yes, she could save more and you could get a house sooner by saving more, but she's gonna be upset and pissed off. I would rather her be happy. I would rather my wife be happy at a pace that she's okay with and I'm okay with, because it's not my money. So I have to be okay with it if it's at her fucking pace. And just do that. He is trying to put the end goal ahead of the journey. That Mira's not with that. She wants to be happy on her way, so that when she gets the house, when she gets that thing she's looking for, she's happy getting it. Not she's miserable and then get it, because she'll still be miserable. And she's not the most upbeat person in the world anyway. Which is another problem that I think Gil is stupid for. I understand her being unhappy and being a downer could impact him and put him down, but I wouldn't give a shit. Because I'm listening, I'm not the most outgoing person. I'm not the life of the party. I'm not anything. I'm like Marilyn. I'd rather stay home and do my own thing. But if I go out with if I go out with a woman or a female or like a girlfriend or fiance or whatever, she's like, and I'm in the corner pouting, it's like, he'll be alright. Like, don't worry about him. I'll talk to him later. And just do, like, that's how it should be. If I'm in a party and I'm not having fun, be like, well, whatever. Because I do it. If I'm doing something with friends and she's with me and I'm like, and they're like, what's going on with her? I'm like, I don't even know, man. I'll figure it out later. Whatever it is, ain't gonna mess up my good time. That's how it should be. So if he goes with Mirla and Mirla is over there pouting or upset, just be like, I don't know what's wrong with her. Keep the party going. I'll talk to her later. Why is her being down bothering him so much and keeping him from enjoying stuff? I can see it being a thing, but I also see it being, I guess that's something that you develop in time. Though I should be alright. Because they haven't been together long enough for him to feel that way. He probably feel like he's doing something wrong. But he's not. So he should really just get to the point where he just like, whatever. That's how I'd be. I'd be like, whatever. And that's how I expect you to treat me. If you having a good time and I'm sitting there pouting and mad and angry, to be like, fuck him, whatever. I don't know what's going on with him. Fuck him. Shit, just leave my ass in a corner upset. Shit. So I think they're not gonna make it, and it's gonna come down to finance, and it's because of Gil. He keeps bringing it up. He insists it's not a problem, but he keeps bringing it up, and Mirla keeps shutting it down because I feel like this is a conversation she's had a lot of times before, and she don't care. It's her money. She's gonna do what she want to do. They go to the house department that Gil grew up in. He talks about how his dad was killed, how he was there. It was very sad. Going to the hospital in the ambulance, the doctor telling him that, you know, your dad's gone. That was real sad. And it tells me that his story shits on Michaela's. Because Michaela's like, you know, my dad died, I have these issues. Gil's dad died. And he moved on. And he doesn't lash out. I don't think, going back to Michaela and Zach, I don't think anything that she's doing has anything to do with her dad died. I would make a guess. She was doing this type of shit before he died. I knew it was something up with her when she said, like, in episode 1 or 2, that all her exes, when they break up, they leave the state. They move across the country. I bet that's real as fuck. Anyway, back to Gil and back to Michaela. I bet that 100 goddamn percent that her exes get as far away from her as possible. Now back to Gil and Mirla. You know, it made me happy for Gil. I can see why he's so, from what he was saying, why he's so connected to like the poor community, why he believes in giving so much, why he wants to serve to help people, why he became a firefighter. It's kind of like he doesn't look at life the way Mirla does. He looks to see what can he do to help others as much as possible and not try to help himself so much. Whereas Mirla, she tells the story about her growing up and how, you know, they were poor. I think she was actually poorer than Gil, but her family put emphasis on education, you know, getting better things, doing better in life. And so now that her and her siblings, they're all educated, got degrees, they're doing great, they have all this money and all this stuff, and they look at it like they won, like they're doing good in life, which is what their parents wanted. And I don't think Gil grew up like that. So I think that they have two different philosophies on life based on upbringing and what they went through. You know, Mirla kind of looks on her past negatively, and Gil is on his past fondly, as, you know, something that he could, that, you know, it happened. Like his dad died. He doesn't look at it like he is a tragic event, but he looks at it as something that helped mold him for the better. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. They don't look at stuff the same way, which is a huge problem. He's trying to be helpful and she's trying to grow and become bigger. He doesn't have any desire to be wealthy at all. I think he looks down on the wealthy, which again is a problem. So I don't think they're going to make it. I think the whole money thing is a bigger issue that's being led on. But I think they're both very mature and civil, and I think Gil is very non-confrontational. I think Mirla is. They're very passive aggressive. He teases her a lot, but I think she teases him too about stuff. Cause I know she teased him about the horse ride, him being afraid of horses, and him not having like the volleyball. They were playing volleyball, and she's messing with him about what he had on. He wasn't dressed right, his clothes. But he teases her about stuff that's, financial, about spending. And she teases him about being, thrifty. But I think to most people, his looks more demeaning than hers, but it's running along the same ilk. And she just blows it off, and he just blows it off. That's the only reason why it works. Because they don't care about shit like that. I think the fans care more about shit like that than they actually do. Next couple will be, let's go with Jose and Rachel. They were pretty much not that much in the episode. They went to Jose's house. Jose is another person that's like Mirla, has a weird look on stuff. He says he grew up poor, but his family built a house in a good neighborhood with good schools. They built the house, and they were raised in a loving home with loving parents. He had a good life, but he looks at it like it wasn't that good of a life because he didn't have everything other people had. But Rachel is like, he said this thing to Rachel that they were poor, they only ate rice and beans because that's all they could afford was just rice and beans. And Rachel was like, well, we didn't have a home. We didn't have this. We weren't in good neighborhoods. I didn't go to good schools. And we ate rice and beans not because we were poor, because we were Hispanic. It was part of our culture. You eat rice and beans. I viewed it as a cultural thing and never as a poor thing. And she says in her confession that Jose lives in this house with all these things and all these great things, but he looks at him like he grew up so poor and bad, but it was actually very good. Yeah, he looks at when he's explaining it, talking about his house looked great. His childhood home, it looked like a great house. It was decorated. It was wonderfully furnished. It was like, this was a good home. You could tell it was a good home. But he looks at it like, oh man, we did so bad. And it's not an act. He really feels that way. And Rachel and me, both, I was like, it sounded like you had a really good living situation. You had a really good home life, a really good school life, and you grew up very successful. You had a lot of benefits that you probably never realized were benefits because you were comparing your life to rich people and not comparing it to people who were poor. So you were the poorest well-off person. You were the poorest person in the upper middle class. So you feel like you were poor. Gil, Mirla, and Rachel could tell you something about being poor. So Rachel wasn't feeling that. I don't remember her. Did she ever talk about hers? I don't remember if she did. They're talking to Dr. Pepper, and she has a secret that, that's about being honest and all that stuff, and Jose is being controlling and explosive, and how Rachel's not cool with that. But later on, she said she had to tell her husband a truth that when he put her out, she ended up calling an ex and spending the night with an ex. And Jose took it better than I thought he would, but he couldn't really get upset because that whole thing happened because of him. And I bet he won't do it again, is what I'm saying. Because if he'd have never locked her out, that wouldn't have, because she tried. Because she did. She went to the other couple's doors, knocked on their doors. They were all asleep. She was calling. No one was answering. No one was coming to get her. She didn't have her keys. They were in the house. She didn't have her shoes. She didn't have her clothes and stuff. They were in the house. She didn't have anything. So I'm with her. So she did what I would have did. I would have ran through my whole fucking contact list, calling who I could call until somebody answered. And her ex answered. She told him what happened. He came, got her. And she was like, I spent the night. I didn't want to tell you because I knew how you react. Once a cheater, always a cheater. She said that. I don't know why she said that, because that put thoughts in his head. But yes, that wasn't the best thing for her to do. Yes, I can see why Jose will be less trusting of her. And yes, Jose should realize that he brought this on himself. I think that's why he was pretty calm about it. Because if he wouldn't have did what he did, it wouldn't have happened. And she did, yes, try other options. But that's the only one that came through. So they're going to say yes on decision day. They're not going to last. I feel that now. Because of how they're acting, I feel like they're like Myrla and Gil, but differently. Whereas they're getting along just fine, but they have fundamental differences. They have different life outlooks. Whereas Rachel likes to travel, Jose does not. Jose likes to save, Rachel does not. Jose thinks poverty is just the next bill away, and Rachel doesn't. He doesn't know what poor is, and Rachel does. They're not going to make it. Next couple is, let's go with Brett and Ryan. Brett and Ryan, they're fucking done. They go and do, I think they go to where Ryan grew up, and they're fishing or picnicking or whatever, and they're talking, and it's all well and good. They're having a good time. They're getting along very well. But they've never not gotten along. So I don't think that's really a lot of progress. They're doing the memory lane stuff. I don't remember any of it because I don't think it was that significant. Oh, everybody's reading letters. Oh, no, not everybody. They're going through like their past and their history and shit. It was not important enough for me to even bring it up. Later on, after the picnic and stuff, they go back to Brett's. So Ryan goes to Brett, and Brett is standing there with her, her photo albums, all her childhood photos and stuff. And she was like, they wanted me to show you this, but no, I'm not going to do that. And Ryan is like, what's up? She's like, well, I got a call from a friend of mine about 10 minutes ago about you on a dating site, on a dating app, and you matched with her. And Ryan couldn't say shit. He was just like, put your fucking head down. You've been stone cold busted. But he says that yes, it wasn't activated. He said, I downloaded it. I didn't do anything else to it. It wasn't activated. I didn't do anything. I just downloaded it. And Brett was like, you couldn't wait a week, dude. You couldn't wait a week, which is fair. Like, you couldn't fucking wait till decision day. You couldn't wait a week to do it. You did it now. And I believe Ryan when he said, he wasn't trying to hurt her. He wasn't trying to do anything. He was like, I just downloaded it. I don't know. He doesn't know why it matched with people. And from what he said was stupid. But if I'm thinking like, he must have had the app beforehand. Then he deleted it or uninstalled it. And then when he re-downloaded, it just reactivated his profile. Because he was already like probably subscribed, had everything going on. So when all he did was take it off the app. It was still active, still out there. He just wasn't using it. But when he downloaded it again, it just re-kicked on. It just relogged him in with all the information. Because I'm sure that's what happened. So yes, he's confused by it. All I did was download. I didn't do anything to it. Yeah. But when you re-downloaded it, it reactivated everything automatically because you were already using it before. And all your shit was still saved and still on there. You were still in the pool. You were still there. So he must have just never deleted his profile, never ended his subscription. He must have just deleted the app off his phone and left that as it. So when he re-put the app on his phone, it just reconnected to everything and restarted it all. That's what I'm thinking happened. And he's either is unaware of that or is just lying. But he seemed pretty genuine that he was confused about why he even did it. But he was still in the wrong for ever downloading the shit in the first place. So, fuck him. And he was trying to talk to her, and Brett was like, it doesn't matter. Brett was cool because a lot of women I know would have just whooped my ass right there in that damn kitchen. What that says about them or me, I don't know. But the fact that she was so pissed off and so angry, she was calm and laughing, but you could still tell she's mad as fuck. She was not in a good mood. She was not happy. That's a testament to her. And Ryan was smart enough to pick up on that. Like, Brett is pissed. So he wasn't trying to argue or do anything. Shit. He just like, yep. He got up and walked out. There was nothing else to do. It was like, if I stay here any longer and try to argue, she's going to cut me. So I'm just going to leave. Because she was pissed. Not only was she was pissed and embarrassed. Because her friend told her, ain't this your husband that's matching me? Ain't this him? This him, right? Oh, that's got to be a fucking kick in the titties, man. I shouldn't be laughing. That's got to hurt so bad. That's got to hurt your heart. That's what I mean by kicking the tail. Got to hurt your heart. Shit. Oh. Ain't this your husband on here? Ooh. And how small is Houston? Houston like one of the biggest cities in the world. What are the fucking odds of that? Man. Poor Brett. Poor Brett. Poor Ryan. He was so distraught. So sad. So disheveled. He slowly walked out the apartment. He slowly walked down the street. He slowly got in his Jeep. He slowly drove off. He was so hurt. He was trying to explain to the producers, like, I didn't even do it. I just downloaded. She was like, fuck you want me to do? Tell her, tell me. I don't give a shit. And Brett was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, he texted her. She was like, it don't matter. What you were saying, you downloaded it. Your intention that hurt was to download it. Whether you meant to start matching or start dating or what, that doesn't matter, man. The downloading of it in the first place is the problem. Oh, poor Brett and Ryan. Poor Brett and Ryan. And they're not even that bad at all. Like, the one thing I will give this season is that a lot of the guys aren't just raging assholes. Like Zach, Gil, even Ryan, they're all really nice guys. They're just bad at dating. They're just not good at relationships. They're not open assholes. They're not just big old dicks. They're just like, I'm not good at this. And I look at all of these people. Except maybe, I look at all of them. They're victims of online dating. Because they just go through people. Which is the show should be on the lookout for. Why would you bring on this show people who go on 100 dates a year? They're constantly dating, they're constantly going through relationships. They're constantly doing this stuff with new people and all this all the time. They're not even close to committing. Brett said that. She said, she doesn't know how to be a wife, but she knows how to be in a relationship. Ryan doesn't. None of these people do. She was like, she's the only one that has said that. I don't know how to be married, but I know how to be in a relationship. Because she's the only one that really was. She's not just dating, going out hooking up with random people. Everybody else is doing that. From one person to the next person to the next person to the next person. Nobody is being like, my last relationship was like a year ago. We were together for 5 years. We were together for 3 years. We were together. Everybody like, well, we were together for like a couple months. We were together for 6 months, or we were together for 3 weeks. You know, it's just shit like that. It's like, why would they even bring them on here? If you've never been in a relationship that lasted for years, there's no way you're ready for one. Ryan said he had like 100 dates in 12 months in a year. So he was just going from person to person. So he wasn't even dating girls for a month. So Johnny was the same way. I don't think Gil did that, but I know he's done online dating, probably not to that extreme. Think about that with Ryan. If he dated 100 people in a year, there couldn't have been second dates. There couldn't have been. Because there's 52 weeks in a year. If he dated one person a week, that's 52 dates. How the fuck you even do that? That's insane. So he was doubling up or maybe even tripling up weeks. It could have been a second date. Why would they even bring him on this show? Him or Johnny. Why would they even bring him on the show if they're doing that? I just baffled myself with that one. Our last couple is Bao and Johnny. Oh, poor Bao and Johnny. Poor Bao, really. And poor Johnny, according to Johnny. They go to where Johnny grew up. And he's another person, seems like he had a very good childhood. Why does he look at it so traumatic? Because his dad wasn't there? I didn't get him either. I guess it's a dad thing because he had his entire family. Everyone. Except his dad. They hung out together. They did everything together. He has all these family photos of having a good time, doing all these great stuff, and having this grew up in a loving, wonderful home. A village. He said it's a village. You don't have a two-person parents, but you have a village that loves and cares for you. His dad not being there, was that traumatic? I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. I'm really not. I don't know what Johnny, he's victimizing himself to make himself look like he had this horrible childhood when he didn't. It looked like it was a wonderful fucking childhood. It really did. Like he had a wonderful life. But his dad wasn't there, so it was terrible, so traumatic and hard. I don't know why Bao felt bad for him. I did not feel bad for him. Some people might have did. I did not. Because I'm like, your dad left. And in return, you got like 30 people that did love you, that did want to be around, that would have did everything for you. And apparently he said it was his mom's decision because of how when his dad was around, it was ugly. It was the only time it was bad is when his dad was there. It's fucking dumb. I don't know why Bao felt sympathy for him at all. They go to where Bao grew up at. She's telling her story about growing up with no friends in a trailer, a dilapidated trailer with no friends, burning. She set her dolls on fire for entertainment. She was a destructive child who destroyed things for entertainment when she was fun. She broke and burned shit. That was weird. I'm like, why would you tell people that? But that was hurtful for her. They were reading letters to their younger self. Johnny's was bullshit. I was mad at him for acting like his life was bad when it wasn't, to me. And hers was sad because she did have a pretty bad childhood. Something about her father having PTSD, how he was in the war, he never got treated. And he had all these problems that no one knew about until, later on in life. And I felt bad for her then. Because then it explained a lot that her dad went to war, he came back messed up, and he never got counseled, he never was treated, and nobody understood what was going on. They just avoided him. And in turn, they avoided her. And I explained her dad's reputation for being a drunk, violent person or whatever the fuck. And so I felt sympathy for Bao. Later on with Dr. Pepper and with Dr. Pepper, Johnny said he was talking to Bao's friend Sarah. And Sarah says Bao is the worst motherfucker that ever walked the earth. That Johnny told her that him and Bao were having trouble, and Sarah was like, "Oh yeah, I would never date Bao. I would never tell any of my friends to date Bao because Bao is controlling. She likes to break people down and treat them bad. She has one persona in public and one persona in private, and all of this stuff." And so basically, Sarah told Johnny that Bao is a fucking demon queen. And to Johnny's credit, Bao sat there, made her little pouty face, which is kind of getting stupid now, and denied none of it. Just said, well, yeah, well, fuck Sarah. You know, she didn't deny any of the accusation that Johnny said, but she said that, you know, she felt betrayed by both Johnny and Sarah, that Sarah is not the person that you need to ask because Sarah is a very negative person herself. She didn't say that. She didn't deny what Sarah said, but she says, you know, Sarah's an asshole who tells me terrible shit all the time. But she is my friend. And that Johnny was a piece of shit for listening to Sarah, and Sarah was a piece of shit for talking to Johnny behind her back. You know, she felt betrayed, which she should. What trips me out was that Johnny was saying, he said on Unfiltered that him and Sarah were friends. They've been friends just as long as Sarah and Bao have been friends. Now, if I remember correctly, Bao and Johnny have not seen each other since college. So it's been about 15 years since they've interacted. But Sarah is Bao's best friend, and Sarah is also Johnny's good friend, who Johnny says, I talk to her and we hang out all the time. How have they never crossed paths in 15 years? I think there's some bullshit going on. Either between them or Sarah. Either Johnny doesn't know Sarah like that, or they have met and talked and all this for years. And they're getting hard to watch because Johnny doesn't want her and she doesn't want him. Why do they keep saying, I'm going to try to make it work? Like Johnny said that, but then Bao was like, at the end, Bao was like, I'm still here. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying. And Johnny got pissed like, I hate the way you say that. Because it seems like I'm not trying and I'm not still here. Johnny, you're not trying. And you're not still there. He got up and left. You're not there. You're not trying. You're not doing anything that you're saying you're doing. Why would they pretend? The fuck is that? Oh, piece of cloth. Yeah. I hate Johnny. And I don't know if it's editing or the way it's being done or produced or whatever, but Bao saying like she's done nothing wrong. It could be the way it's being presented. She could be two-faced. But from what we've seen, she seems like she's a really good person. And that she really wanted to be a wife. Johnny seems like he just wants to go out on dates all the time. He said that he's afraid of being alone like his dad. He is going to, because he has impossible requirements. He has stuff that, like, nobody's going to do that, man. The insecurity of him is just, the insecurity and the self-destruction is stupid to me. It might make sense to him, but it's stupid to me. I'm out on all these couples. Shit, I'm out. I think Sarah and no, not Sarah. I mean Rachel and Jose will say yes, but they're not going to make it. Everybody, even Gil and Maryland, they're going to say no. I think they're going to say no decision day. And I think Michaela's going to say yes and Zach's going to say no. I want to see decision day. Because this is going to be some shit. And this show is frustrating. This show is it seems like they're aiming for controversy instead of aiming for success, which is a problem. These matches like they ever had a snowball's chance in hell. And that's on production. But hey, that's my thought. What is yours? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, leave your thoughts. And I'll see y'all next episode, man. Hey, peace.